The world has always been a place of chaos. This is not something new to our time, and it is not something temporary. How do you find your voice in the middle of that? How do you speak? How do you act? How do you know who you are when everything around you is uncertain? The story of Musa alayhi salam teaches us that a voice built on purpose, on ubudiyyah, on the knowledge that you were created for something specific and that Allah has not forgotten you in the middle of your chaos, is a voice that can speak even at the edge of a sea with an army behind it. In Surah Al-Qasas, Musa alayhi salam has fled Egypt. He accidentally killed a man. Pharaoh knows who he is, and there is a death sentence waiting for him if he returns. He arrives in a place called Midian, alone, without family, without resources, without a plan, a fugitive in a land where no one knows his name. He has nothing. He reaches a well. There are men watering their flocks there, and on the edges, two women waiting with their own flock, unable to reach the water because of the crowd of men. Musa alayhi salam does not know these women. He has no reason to help them. He has every reason, given his situation, to sit down and conserve what little energy he has. But he goes to them, asks what their situation is, and when he understands it, he waters their flock for them, without being asked and without expecting any reward. And then Musa alayhi salam makes his request. فَسَقَى لَهُمَا ثُمَّ تَوَلَّى إِلَى الظِّلِّ فَقَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي لِمَا أَنزَلْتَ إِلَيَّ مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَقِيرٌ. So he watered for them, and then he went back to the shade and said, My Lord, indeed I am in need of whatever good you would send down to me. Notice that Musa gives before he asks. He serves two strangers with nothing in his hand and no expectation of return. And then he sits down under a tree and turns to Allah. There's something important here about the relationship between giving what little you have and the opening of a door to Allah. Musa does not arrive to the well and immediately ask Allah to change his situation. He acts with what he has, and then he asks. The second is the grammar of the du'a itself. He says, I am in need of whatever good you send down to me. The word faqir means genuinely poor, genuinely without. And then he leaves the content of the response entirely to Allah, whatever good you decide to send. The third is the speed of what follows. The very next verse, فَجَاءَتْ إِحْدَاهُمَا تَمْشِي عَلَى اسْتِحْيَاءٍ. Then one of the two women came to him walking with shyness. She comes with an invitation from her father, and what unfolds from that single act of service is shelter, livelihood, marriage, 10 years of preparation, and eventually prophethood. The entire trajectory of Musa's life on this earth turns in that moment. Those 10 years in Midian were what the tradition calls i'dad, preparation. Musa alayhi salam was being shaped out of the public eye without titles or recognition. He was learning, working, and building the inner resources that the next chapter of his life would require. This is the nature of building a voice. It needs time and refinement. And then Allah calls him at the burning bush. Go to Pharaoh. Go to the man who declared himself God, the man who enslaved your people, the man who, when he heard there would be a child from Bani Israel who would challenge his power, ordered the killing of newborn boys, the man whose palace you grew up in, and who now has a death warrant with your name on it. Go to him. and speak. And Musa's response is du'a. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي أشدد به أزري وأشركه في أمري. My Lord, expand for me my chest, and ease for me my task, and untie the knot from my tongue, that they may understand my speech. And appoint for me a minister from my family, Harun, my brother. Strengthen through him my back, and let him share my task. The first thing I want you to notice about this dua is how specific it is. Musa knows exactly what he needs, and he asks for each thing directly. He needs internal capacity first. Ishrah li sadri, expand my chest. Before he asks for anything external, he asks for the interior to be made ready. Because a voice that comes from a constricted chest, from a place of fear and anxiety and overwhelm, is not the same voice as one that comes from a chest that Allah has opened. Then he asks for ease in the task itself. Then he asks for the knot in his tongue to be loosened. He asks for them to understand him, يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي, that they may comprehend my speech. Finding your voice is not only about expression, it is about what you say reaching the hearts of the people in front of you. And that, the penetrating of a word into a heart, is something only Allah can give. You can craft your words, craft them perfectly, and deliver them with everything you have, and they can still land on closed hearts. And then Musa asks for his brother. وَاجْعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِّنْ أَهْلِي هَارُونَ أَخِي. Appoint for me a minister from my family, Harun, my brother. This is the second tool, suhbah, companionship. Even a prophet asked for it. He knew he could not do this alone. The Arabic word wazir is a minister who shares the load, and Harun was that person for Musa. And the response of Allah, قال قد أوتيت سؤلك يا موسى. He said, you have been granted your request, O Musa. Complete, immediate. Everything he asked for, given. Who is that person for you? Who is constantly grounding you, reminding you, anchoring you to what actually matters? Musa alayhi salam has faced the Pharaoh. He has stood in that court with Harun beside him and delivered the message. He has been through the signs and the plagues and the confrontations. He has led Bani Israel out of Egypt in the middle of the night, walking away from the only world most of them had ever known. And now they are at the edge of the sea. The water is in front of them, and behind them, Pharaoh's army is closing in. And the people say, Inna lamudrakun. We are surely going to be overtaken. And Musa, alayhi salam, he says, Kalla, inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdeen. No, indeed with me is my Lord, he will guide me. There's no du'a here, just a statement. And that is precisely what makes this the culmination of everything we have been building toward in this episode. You don't arrive at that certainty without having asked Allah to expand your chest and then felt Him expand it, without having watched the knot in your tongue come loose, without having stood in front of the most powerful man in the world and found that you were still standing when it was over. Tawakkul, or depending on Allah, is something that is built over time through repeated experience of the responses of Allah. Every time you ask and He answers, and every time the situation looks impossible and He opens a way, every time you have nothing and He sends something, each of these moments deposits something into the heart. By the time Musa is standing at the sea, he has a lifetime of those deposits. And so when everyone around him sees water and an army and says we are finished, Musa is looking at the same scene and seeing something different. He is seeing his Lord, and he says what he knows to be true. He is with me, he will guide me. And then Allah parts the sea. The three moments in Musa's story gives us three things to understand. The first is this: when you are at your lowest, the most powerful thing you can do is tell Allah the truth. That vulnerability, that honesty, that complete opening of the hand, Allah responds to. The second is this: when Allah gives you an assignment that feels beyond you, don't wait until you feel ready. Ask for what you need to fulfill it. Ask with specificity. Ask for your chest to be expanded before you ask for anything external to change. Ask for the people who will stand beside you to be placed in your life. And ask for your words to reach hearts. Because you can't make that happen on your own. And the third is this: certainty in the face of everything that contradicts it is something that accumulates over time and is rooted in full tawakkul in Allah and full yaqeen, belief in everything He is capable of. That certainty is the voice that chaos cannot overcome. Musa's story tells us that those years in Midian were the years that built what he needed to stand in front of Pharaoh. The incarcerated brothers and sisters who are sitting in Taiba classes right now, who are learning Arabic and studying Qur'an and building the tools of this tradition inside correctional facilities across this country, those years are not wasted either. Allah does not waste the i'dad, the preparation of anyone who is sincere about their growth. Taiba exists to make sure that they have the resources they need, that there are teachers, books, and programs that carry the living tradition of this deen into places where it would not otherwise reach. If this episode has benefited you, please share it. And if you are able to support the work of Taiba Foundation, the link is in the description. Your contribution is part of someone else's preparation, their i'dad. It is part of someone finding their voice. We will see you in the next episode, insha'Allah.